I heard this phrase recently: genes load the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. Genes, as in our genes and chromosomes, our genes load the gun and our lifestyle pulls the trigger. How you doing? I'm John Laspina and I am the carnivore teacher, and in this brief video I would like to examine that phrase. We have something that is completely out of our control, and that is what we inherit from our parents. We inherit certain genes that predetermine how we're going to look, our personality. So many millions of things are predetermined by our genes, and some of those are disease. You may be predisposed genetically to get a certain disease. Sadly, it stinks, it's not fair, but that's the way it is. However, maybe you will never get that disease. You'll live a nice, long, healthy life. You'll live to be 120, the way our genetic clocks are meant to, even though we never get there. And you may never acquire that disease that was passed down to you because your lifestyle was a healthy lifestyle. Let me share with you what I'm talking about. Let's say cancer. A lot of people in your family got cancer. Now, some cancers, there's a little controversy. Is it genetic? Is it not genetic? They can't prove that it's genetic, although it looks like it could be genetic. Let's say it is, for argument purposes. Let's say your grandmother got breast cancer, your mother got breast cancer, and you could get breast cancer because you have the BRCA gene, and they had the BRCA gene. There's your gene. There's your genetics. They all got breast cancer and died. You think, oh, I'm going to get breast cancer and die if you're a woman, right? Men can get breast cancer too, by the way. Well, genes load the gun. That's true, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. And maybe your grandparents and your parents who died of this didn't understand the concept of eating healthy and not smoking and not drinking and exercising and moving. If we treat our bodies the way our human body are meant to be treated and not fill it with toxic soot from tobacco or vape, or all the oils and chemicals from vape, if we don't, pour that poison down our throat called alcohol. Alcohol is a poison. It just is. I know it makes us feel great, slows things down. It's a poison. You're taxing your liver. You're causing problems. And a lot of people can handle it, but if you are genetically predisposed to acquiring something, that might be the gun that pulls the trigger, the alcohol. If you are genetically predisposed to getting something like breast cancer and you smoke cigarettes or you vape to get nicotine, that's the gun that pulls the trigger, that turns on the gene that gives you the cancer. So we are intelligent humans. We have the ability to learn. We have the knowledge. We know that smoking and vaping is bad for us. We know that alcohol is poison. You don't need it to live, ever. We know how to eat properly. Now, there's a lot of confusing messages out in the media and out in the world saying eat this way, or, it's healthier than eating this way. And some of those are wrong. We see commercials on TV. If you eat Cheerios, it's going to lower your cholesterol. You hear all these claims. First of all, cholesterol is not a bad thing, but that's the inference anyway. And then they're selling their product. They're making money. We know that our body needs protein, healthy fatty acids, vitamins, and minerals. And you can get all of the good versions of that from animal products. If you want to have some plants, I don't advise it because they have anti-nutrients. I'm a carnivore, but some people like it. Some people tolerate plants well. I encourage you to get organic, non-GMO plants, vegetables and fruits if you're going to go that way, because you don't want the toxins from the glyphosate. You don't want the genetically modified stuff that use glyphosate to resist them. You want to have as few chemicals in your body as possible. You want to stay as close to one ingredient and as close to nature as possible. And then you may have that BRCA gene, but you will not get breast cancer probably because you didn't pull the trigger. So inheriting something, but having the lifestyle, these are the things that happen. Now let's go the other direction. Let's say that you are an individual that doesn't have in a gene that's going to give you a disease. You still want to follow a healthy lifestyle because you could still acquire a disease. I have a friend who had glioblastoma, did not have any family history of cancer or that particular cancer. How did he get that cancer? Well, he was morbidly obese. When I say morbidly, we're not supposed to use that phrase anymore because it sounds bad. He was gigantic. He overate lots of carbs and sugar much of his life. He was so obese, it was hard for me to look at him. It just looked puffy. It looked uncomfortable. And maybe he just did not hear the information about carbs and sugar. And, it's in the world. It's the standard American diet or Western diet. And just continued to eat that way. And the cancer cell woke up. It started in the brain. It spread like wildfire and went through all the therapies, had surgery, had chemo, had radiation. None of that worked because he pulled the trigger over and over again of a bad diet. And it's so sad. And I wonder if he had changed his diet immediately when he had the diagnosis. He would have immediately lost a ton of weight. Not immediately, but pretty rapidly. When you go carnivore or keto, you lose weight very well. Your body responds. And the brain loves ketones, and cancer can't eat ketones. Cancer doesn't see ketones as a fuel. It sees glucose and glutamine as fuels. And it's so important to have the knowledge so that I just wish we could have saved his life. I wish we knew this back then. So I encourage everybody to understand their own biology. Do those genetic tests if you want. I did. I found out that, I have 2 potentially genetic things going on in my life having to do with my eyes, weirdly enough. But I'm okay. But a lot of people find out through the gene searches that they are predisposed to getting a certain disease. And knowing that, having that knowledge, I am not going to do something that's unhealthy for me, like smoke cigarettes, drink alcohol, and eat carbs and sugar and seed oils. Seed oils oxidize in your body and create so much stress in the body and inflammation. I know all that, so I'm not going to do carbs and sugar and seed oils, and I'm going to not drink alcohol, and I'm not going to put vape and tobacco smoke in my body. I have a much greater chance when I roll the dice that I'm not going to contract a disease, even if it's genetic, because I'm not pulling the trigger. Genes load the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. Remember that. Ladies and gentlemen, take this little tidbit with you and just think about it. Let it sit there and think. Eat well. Have a great day.